Hi there, welcome to Camping Secrets. I'm Marky Mark. I recently got back from Dartmoor where I did a wild camp. It's May at the moment and it was pretty chilly at night, and I used my really thick insulation sleeping bag, 900 fill down, and I was just about warm enough. But since then, in the last week, it's got really sunny, and I'm starting to think for future wild camps I'll be using a summer sleeping bag. Now there's quite a few on the market, and I've got two here that I want to talk about. Both ostensibly pretty similar. We've got one from Decathlon, which is the Forclaz Trek 900 sleeping bag. I've got it in XL. This is pretty cool because it's got 5-year Decathlon warranty, and that retails for £109.99. And then in the blue corner, I've got one that I bought from Amazon called the Bisinna sleeping bag, and this is £89.99. So it is about 20 quid cheaper than the Decathlon. They both come with stuff sacks, sort of compression sacks, and they're both about the same size, but I'd say the Bisinna slightly bigger when not being compressed. The great thing with these sleeping bags though is how much you can compress them. You use these compression straps. I don't advise that you keep them compressed, but when you're packing to go away, the genius part is you can just pull these straps, and then the one up here on the top, and basically look at that, it's absolutely tiny, and that will go in your rucksack and hardly take up any room whatsoever. Same with the Decathlon. Pull these straps down and it just massively shrinks them down, and they're both sort of the same size, which is very small. So what kind of insulation are you getting? Well, they both got down, 90% down insulation. The Bisinna specifies it as duck down, 90%, and the Decathlon don't go into details of what down feathers they're using, but it's pretty similar. This one weighs 775 grams, the Decathlon, and this is in XL. So this is for people up to 2 meters tall. So that's a pretty big person. I'm about 1.93 meter, I think it is, or 94, something like that, just over 6 foot. And then the Bisinna is a 2 meter long sleeping bag. Now, in terms of style differences, I'll show you, I'll get them out in a minute, but the Bisinna is a rectangular sleeping bag, and the Forclaz Trek 900 is a mummy sleeping bag, so it sort of tapers in at the bottom. And I'd say that's quite a big design difference between the two, and it might impact your decision which one you prefer. Some people like the mummy because it sort of keeps you restricted in, keeps the heat in maybe a bit better, whereas the Bisinna gives you more freedom to move around. There's a few other good features with the Bisinna. Let's get them out and we can compare them directly. So let's just undo these straps, take the little end cap off, and a real nice feel to the nylon. This is 400T nylon, so that means 400 thread count, which means it's the highest quality nylon that you can get for the outer layer. And it's a really lovely feel to it. I do like the Bisinna. For £89.99, I do think it's really good. And it doesn't feel that thick to the touch, and in a way that's what you want. When it's really hot like this, the blinding sun, you don't want to be sweltering, too hot in your sleeping bag. Otherwise it defeats the object really. So this gives enough insulation on hot evenings where at least you have got the feeling of comfort and you can snuggle in. I find it difficult to sleep without any cover at all, but with this you can sort of regulate your temperature very well. Has nice sort of Velcro at the top and drawstrings as well, pulling it tight, so you can pull it tight around your neck, but there is no hood or headpiece. It's just a straight top at the top. At the bottom, as I said before, it's also straight, so it's a full rectangular shape. Now, what I do really like with the Bisinna is it's got a two-way zip. So you can zip down from the top here and open it up. And actually you can keep going if you want. You can fully open this thing and then it turns into like a double quilt. And it does feel really, really lovely to the touch. And Bisinna say if you buy 2 of these, you can actually zip them together. They've designed it so that another one will zip into this zip and you can make a full-on double sleeping bag. The zips work really well, big teeth on them. Very nice to zip around. Let's get in it. People will think I'm crazy. I don't care. They call me crazy, it's how I roll. Oh yeah. I'm not gonna want to get out of this thing. Yes, if you've got your camping chair and you've set up at your wild camp, you can even sit with this on and it does keep you really nice and snugly. And then you can zip it up and pull the drawstring sort of around like this. Yes, it's got to be the thumbnail shot, I think, there for the video. So the Bisinna is really impressive, and I think for £89, can't really go wrong. It feels quality material, and I've enjoyed using it last year when I first got it. Let's have a look at the Decathlon. So Forclaz is their clothing line at Decathlon, I think. Their camping line is couture normally. So I think Forclaz, you know, their down jackets are Forclaz, but their sleeping bag, funnily enough, are Forclaz as well, not couture. The big difference here is the warranty. You get 5 years with the Decathlon and only 30 days, no quibble, money back with the Bisinna. But there's not much to go wrong here, and I think, you know, you should know within your 30 days whether you want to keep it or not. Let's get the Forclaz out. So straight away you can see that the foot area is much more compressed in compared with the Bisinna. So let me show you head to head, toe to toe I mean. So we've got that one there, that's the foot part of the Bisinna, and it is just way wider than the Decathlon. Nice funky blue with the Decathlon and grey on the other side, whereas you've got the grey and the orange. I do like both designs in terms of colour. What about in terms of feel? I would say that Decathlon feels like it's got a bit more sort of meat to it, a bit more insulation. The Bisinna feels slightly thinner. Both really smooth to the touch. Similar feel nylon, but I would say the Decathlon perhaps has a little bit more insulation. In terms of zips, it's more of a waterproof design, this on the zip front. You've got more of a sealed zip. I don't know if you can see that once it's zipped up. And I do believe that the Forclaz, the Decathlon, has a water repellent coating on the sleeping bag. So if you do get a bit of moisture, it will just dissipate. It definitely feels thicker than the Bisinna, but I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You may not, if it's a really hot summer's camp, I'm not sure you want it. Now they both have comfort minimum temperatures of 10 degrees C. So the actual insulation must be fairly similar on both. The weight is the same. So I would say it feels slightly thicker than the Bisinna, but not by much. I quite like, if I'm honest, having the feet down in the mummy style. It just helps trap the heat in. You can always, this has a two-way zip as well, but it doesn't fully unzip right around like the Bisinna, so it won't turn into like a quilt, but it keeps your feet in this foot box at the bottom, which is good. You can zip up from the bottom though, and then have one leg out or in, which is really, really nice. Pretty hot actually in the burning sun here. Let's get that foot back in. Now, the Decathlon has got the headpiece, so if you are cold, you can literally get in. Got the hood. So it seems to be designed more as a traditional winter sleeping bag, this, but without the enough insulation to actually use in the winter. So my thoughts really with the Decathlon are, you don't really need the hood section because you're going to be using this in the summer when presumably you're quite warm anyway. So why do you need to cover your head up? The Bisinna is more flexible in that sense that there is no headpiece. You can unzip it fully, and I think slightly more practical. Whereas the Decathlon is more of a traditional winter sleeping bag, but without winter levels of insulation. So I said comfort temperature is 10 degrees. They can go down to a minimum of 5 degrees, but I would never really use this level of sleeping bag at 5 degrees. So I really do see these as a sort of 1 to 2 season sleeping bag. But in terms of saving weight and saving space, they're both brilliant. And yeah, not much more to say, but which one would I go for? I think my personal preference is the Bisinna, although it's a close run thing. It's £20 cheaper, which is a substantial percentage. It's around 20% cheaper. The material quality is just as good. I like the flexibility that you can fully unzip it and use it as a quilt as well as a sleeping bag. And actually I quite like that there hasn't got the hood part on it for a summer sleeping bag. That being said, the Decathlon is well made. You've got the 5-year warranty. You've got Decathlon quality. You've got Decathlon levels of service. I'm sure if something goes wrong with this, you can take it back and get your money back. And I do quite like being able to just have my feet in that little compact part at the bottom there. But I recommend the Bisinna. Check in the description below. I've got a link to both of these sleeping bags and see which ones you think. But my money is on the Bisinna and I have enjoyed using it. Anyway, I hope that was fairly useful. I hope you're all going to get out camping this summer. Please drop a note in the comments and tell me about your adventures and tell me what you think of these sleeping bags. Do you recommend any other sort of 1 to 2 season sleeping bags that I should be looking out at? But these to me are pretty darn good. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. Bye for now.